Hello, everybody, and welcome. And thank you once again for joining us to one of our In Conversation series. I am delighted today to be joined by Sam Bird, and Sam is with Custom Media based in Tokyo in Japan. Sam, hello, how are you?
Hi, Paul. Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm very well. Konnichiwa, here from Japan. So, pleasure to join you on the call today.
It's great to have you, Sam, and it's also great to have Custom Media just become a Mission partner fairly recently, so we're really excited about that. Mission Group's got quite a few clients in the area and Japan especially, so we're really looking forward to doing some stuff with you guys. But I guess I like to start these things in exactly the same way with everybody because I think it's important to know a little bit about you. But as I say, Custom Media is based in Tokyo. Could you maybe tell us just a little bit about the agency, the history, how many people you've got? Because you're a little bit different, I think, to a lot of Japanese agencies.
Sure. Yeah. So, we started business in 2008. So co-founded by um, the two partners who's still with the business, Robert and Simon. Both had come from a publishing and magazine background. Simon, journalist by trade, originally from the UK, spent some time in South Africa, made his way over to Japan, started covering the news and business here in the sort of 80s, 90s, and never left. And then Robert from India, originally came to Japan to followed his wife here, like many of us did, and they joined forces at a previous firm, thought they could do it better, and started Custom Media 2008. Robert was driving the advertising sales and the business side of it, and Simon on the editorial side. So we started life as a publishing house, and were over the first, say, third of our life since then. Really focused in on publishing B2B magazines. So we were publishers for the British Chamber of Commerce here in Japan, the American Chamber of Commerce. And we, over the years, picked up a variety of different clients in that space and doing custom publishing projects. Then in around sort of 2012, 13, digital really sort of took off here. Social really became a huge opportunity in Japan. And one of the first pieces of business that was really set us on the path to becoming a digital agency, which we are now, is actually a client was Malaysia Airlines. And so this opportunity came up to us, and they were looking. This is really at the start of Facebook being used by brands, and they were looking for a partner in Japan to support them with creating the page, managing the community, and we dived into it, head first, and from that really then helped build out credibility and experience with a lot of different brands, and set us on the path to become ultimately a full service agency across the all digital touch points, as well as PR and other Marcom services. So we've since then, in the last, I'd say 3 to 5 years, really started to double down on B2B marketing. So this is an area that we really, having built upon our heritage of B2B publishers, we feel that we're in a strong position to help international brands to expand or even enter into the Japanese market, and ultimately gain new leads, grow their business here.
Cool. And what are the brand? What sort of brands are you working with? Or maybe it's easy to think about it in terms of industry verticals.
Sure. So yeah, we do a lot of work in the finance space, in manufacturing, technology. So we have a number of SaaS clients, and also we've got quite a healthy roster of clients in education space, as well as in real estate. So this is an area where we've always worked with a number of both Japanese and international real estate companies. So that's, I think, an area where we can also add some more value. And let's see, yeah, I guess more and more recently is there's a lot more on the financial services sector,
Mhm.
and definitely, yeah, again on the sort of IT technology, so bigger logos, bigger names in that technology space as well.
Cool. And so I mean, how big is the agency in terms of headcount now?
We've got 20 people. So this is, a good split across account servicing, creative, and then our studio. And when we need to, we bolster the team with additional resources across production and copywriting, especially when it comes to more technical copywriting. So when we brought on a let's see, it's a manufacturer of components in consumer electronics. So these sort of hidden components that you wouldn't know is there, but is essential to all, modern consumer electronics. Can't say much more under NDA, strict confidentiality. But for that particular client, we needed to get up to speed very quickly on the benefits of their particular technology, and for that we had to draw on our network and find expertise that we could bring into the account and onto the copywriting piece as well. So yeah, so we draw upon a good network. So we've been in business over 15 years, have a great network of obviously Japanese creatives, international folks who've been here for a long time. That's built up a good network, and we draw upon that to service all of our clients. So it's it's quite a fun place to be, and yeah, we enjoy what we do. One of our core values is fun, and we try to, even though we've transitioned slightly to more of a hybrid model in recent years, we always try to get together at least once a month, either for a workshop or a workshop followed by a party. And so we just enjoyed the cherry blossoms here recently,
Oh,
and
lovely.
did it under the lights of the Tokyo Tower, which is a very kind of famous spot to do that in the evenings.
Yeah, no, I've been there and done that. It's a beautiful spot. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So you mentioned, I mean, all of the stuff you talked about is very much B2B. Is the agency exclusively B2B, or do you touch onto any other form of B2C, B2 government, or whatever? Or do you not see the definition? Is it quite blurred?
Well, I mean, for sure we have, I'd say, yeah, sort of probably around 80% of our client base is on the B2B side. We are working with government bodies. So for that, we probably put that into that same category. We've recently just started working with a European country that's looking to promote itself as a destination for foreign direct investment. So trying to get Japanese companies to build a new R&D center in that particular location. So that's quite interesting. And in terms of B2C, yeah, I mean, so it's interesting. We just started working with a delivery app, so very much
Okay.
consumer facing. But the piece of work that we're doing for them is really around recruitment marketing. So they
Mhm.
want to grow into 20 different cities across Japan. Um, they are, like many companies here, facing challenges in hiring good people, especially those who align with their company culture, which is a little bit more modern and European and interesting. So it can be a little bit perhaps let's say for especially for the younger generation, they might be interested, but their parents may not be
Yeah.
too keen on them working there. So we need to sort of help think about how to best communicate the sort of trustworthiness, the credibility, the longevity of this company and their commitment to Japan. So it's definitely a communications exercise and challenge to a consumer in a sense, but it's in this case it's to a potential hire or even their the influencers around them, their parents and friends and relatives and the like. So yeah, it's those are the kinds of things I think we do well at. In terms of more pure B2C. I'd say on the education side, we obviously that's an area where we're trying to target a lot of parents who are looking to give their children a great education and international options here in Japan. So often that's definitely more of a kind of a consumer led positioning and lead generation campaigns.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like your sort of sweet spot, I guess, is that the client who's got, should we slightly say, slightly longer, bigger issues that need to be solved, something that's not going to be simplistic, where you've got a lot of elements, a lot of plates to spin, as it were, and where you guys can get your teeth into it and make it happen for them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, we really enjoy those larger engagements, and really thinking, through the strategy of not just, how can we make this an interesting and an impactful campaign, but also obviously how can it then influence the business, moving forward, and really kind of look to build a sort of longer term partnership with that brand. So that's always key for us.
And I mean, Sam, forgive me, but you're obviously not Japanese. How did you how did you
What
end
gave
up
it
at
away?
Custom? I feel a few years doing this type of thing, you get a bit of a sixth sense for it. So how did you end up at Custom Media? What's your background?
Yeah, so I came to Japan. It's 19 years this summer it'll be, and I just came for an adventure, really. I
Yeah.
just finished uni, was Sheffield Uni, and did some traveling. Came back to the UK, paid off my debts, wanted to go traveling again. Came back to Japan, found a decent job, and just kept saying I do a couple more years, and eventually found the career that I wanted to be in marketing and advertising. Actually came to Custom Media back during that first phase when they were in that sort of publisher phase, helped them transition into the digital agency that we are now. So I was with the business for 6 years, from 2011 to 2017. After that, I completed an MBA, wanted to sort of test out what I could do with that. Got some great experience working at Dentsu, one of the largest agencies around. Helped basically there. I was running Gyro, which was their B2B acquisition, the B2B agency for the Tokyo market. And then also, gained some other experience across in-house roles in marketing as well. Did some more data-driven marketing at another agency, and I thought last year I had lunch again with Robert and thought this would be an interesting opportunity to help really supercharge us, from the transition into B2B to really, more of a holistic offering around, PR, marketing, integrated comms, all focused on that B2B, play, because I've just seen that being a huge opportunity for at other agencies, and thought, and Custom Media were right in that same, thinking at the same time. So it was really interesting to come back and help lead this transition and generate new business across all kinds of exciting new clients as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a great opportunity, and you can sort of see the sort of track of the career, and obviously you love the place and stay, so fantastic. I mean, I think the other thing, I mean, I've done a little bit of work in Japan over the years, but I mean, as a non-Japanese person, you look in and it can, the society and culture and everything that goes along with it, and the work culture can seem a little bit baffling to those perhaps a little less attuned to it. I mean, what are there any sort of massive learnings that you would sort of be able to impart to anybody watching this who's has a project that's likely to be in Japan? That, what are the key watch outs that perhaps they need to know about that you might be able to share with us?
Yeah, sure. I think first of all, it's patience. It's understanding that things take a little bit longer here to action. There's more of a group consensus mentality here. So what that means really in business is that things will take extra time for it to be circulated within the company, within the decision maker group. But once the plan has been set, and that's another piece, making sure that your plan is very detail focused, full of all of the details, and answering all the questions that the client may have. But once that plan has been agreed, things move very fast. The track has been laid out, and then it's it might take an extra month to get started, but once it does, it zips past the approach that was sort of just quick to start, but sort of then learns along the way. So I think it's a different way of doing things, but I think that's one key aspect to remember. And gosh, others, I think, yeah, other massive learnings. I think, yeah, Japan can just be very maybe overwhelming to some degree. The culture obviously is very different. The language is very different. It's a monocultural, monolingual society. So Japanese culture and language. So having somebody who can help you navigate that, everything from how to pass your business card, your paper business card.
Oh yes.
Here is still is an
Still a thing,
important
is
way
it?
to still a thing. LinkedIn surprisingly is only just really starting to get traction here, and it's
Okay.
literally in the last couple of months it seems to have really got into the Japanese business, especially the tech community. There was recently a tech conference, sushi technology conference, I think it was. So it's SUS High, so sustainable high tech. It's a bit of kind of play on words, sushi. And there, yeah, it wasn't that people were trying to give a business card or connect via other methods. It was, hey, should we just connect on LinkedIn? So that was one of the first times we've really seen that. As it's just important to remember. Yeah.
No, that's a good tip, because obviously, I mean, a lot of us just use LinkedIn in the rest of the world as it was kind of the go-to to sort of find out who you're meeting and all the rest of it. But if the penetration is not the same in Japan, and it becomes a slightly different thing, I guess.
Sure.
I mean, Sam, I remember, I mean, the Japanese industry, the creative industry, was quite dominated by the likes of Dentsu and Hakuhodo, and the independent sector was relatively small in comparison. Is that
Yep.
still the case, or is the independent sector sort of growing in strength a little bit? What's your take on it?
Yeah, there's definitely still, I mean, the larger players, the Dentsus, Hakuhodos, ADK, the three big groups here, those guys still dominate in terms of media spend and just owning of the opportunities to place media even. So in terms of creativity, though, I think there is certainly a few players that have breaking out of that. And the foreign, in fact, the foreign firms, even though that they are part of larger groups, they still have a role to play here. So the likes of yeah, I mean, Havas, AKQA, even McCann, they play a certain role where that there's opportunity for them to offer a slightly different approach. I wouldn't even say, for example, that the Dentsus of the world really have a hold on creativity. They more have that sort of business relationship, with the big Japanese advertisers. It's like the old adage, right? You can't go wrong by buying IBM. It's the same sort of thing. You can't go wrong by using Dentsu. So that's to consider. But I think people like Ray Inamoto, and then there's a local firm here, Ultra Super New, run by a Dutch guy. These guys are kind of doing some really interesting stuff, and helping to push more creativity in the industry. So yeah, it's an interesting time, I think, at this moment.
So, Sam, bearing that in mind, is there a campaign that you've seen fairly recently that's run maybe in Japan or maybe the surrounding area that you thought, wow, that's one I wish I'd done that?
Sure. Yeah, the one that sticks in mind, Nike Japan. So they had a campaign where it's called New Girl, and basically, new mother, new parents, celebrating the birth of a baby girl, or the announcement of that. They're getting the ultrasound scan, and then they hear it's a girl, and then flashing through their mind is all the challenges that they feel that a female in the workplace is going to encounter over the years, as she gets all these sort of gender barriers that they're going to face. And so that actually really resonated with with myself. As a father of two daughters, but also the industry as a whole, and also just the society really kind of became a real trending subject as a part of the wider kind of discussion on the role of females in the workplace, and the role in society, and really just thinking about how best to make the most of, I wouldn't say that talent source, but that's how it's kind of considered, right? Looking at how ultimately empowering women, giving opportunities, and there's been much more of a concerted effort from both government, industry bodies, really around how to help women in the workforce, or women in society in general, just have much fairer representation, and larger voice in day-to-day and the decision-making process as well.
Yeah, no, I mean that's very good to hear, and I know we at Mission are extremely proud that our sort of gender balance is pretty much the same as the demography of the UK. It's a 50-50 split. But as I'm sure you'd agree, I mean, there's a long way to go for us as an industry globally. I feel that to get that gender balance better. So it's great to hear that Nike is sort of leading the charge and stuff like that, and it's making some resonance. You touched on the technology thing a little while ago with LinkedIn, and I guess a lot of us sitting outside of Japan sort of think of Japan as a sort of early tech adopter. And I'm sort of old enough to remember, being bombarded by Japanese tech in the 1980s and the VCR boom and all the rest of it. Is that still the case? Is Japan still sort of cutting edge? And what are you seeing in terms of really exciting tech at the moment that's coming out in a business context, perhaps?
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting, that perception, right? I mean, I had the same one when I came here, expecting Japan to be, full of robots and flying cars and the like, and thinking it was all just a few years away. Yeah, it's not. I mean, there's some things that are, amazing from a technology point of view, that the likes of the Shinkansen, the bullet train, just having that, adopted throughout the country. High-speed rail, fantastic to be able to get around. High-speed internet in the major cities, and most places around the country is fantastic. That coverage, 5G is everywhere. And but in terms of, yeah, it's a bit of an interesting, I guess, issue where you have quite a sort of old guard that are still tied to their fax machines still, and still tied to sort of printing things out and needing bits of paper. Obviously, COVID really changed a few things here, that to be able to work from home, the opportunity to do web meetings, as they're known here, and just to be able to do things rather than in person and with paper. I remember still having to print out proposals and hand them out, 10 copies to people, even recently, in the last 5 years. It's definitely changing. So I think it's getting there, but once again, it's one of those things, once there's sort of a tipping point consensus, everyone will change. In that, you'll see, Japan really pick up on certain things. It was like that with say Facebook. Once they had the Social Network movie came out, bang, everybody had a Facebook account. Like before that, it just wasn't happening. So and then similarly with COVID, before it was still kind of using paper money and coins, cash, right? And then suddenly switch, everybody's using apps to pay for everything. So it's really changed in overnight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll wait for the next big tipping point then. I mean, I guess leading on from that, I mean, as a Japanese agency, what do you see as perhaps the biggest challenge perhaps for you, for the industry in the next, say, 6 months? Because I think that's probably about as far as anyone would like to predict at the moment.
Sure. Yeah, so I guess two things. I mean, one maybe is always on everyone's minds as sort of in business here is the talent. You know, finding the right people, finding good people. There's just sort of less and less, you know, graduates coming through the system, and are they ready for the kind of the modern workforce and work style? It's hard to see that, and so yeah, a lot of times there's a lot of investment in you know, training people up. You know, especially in, say, digital marketing, you know, that's still an area where there's a sort of a divide, really. And also, I'd say the other challenges or the opportunity, you know, if you look at it that way, is with AI, right? So
Yeah.
those that are adopting it are able to really, I think, show gains over the competition that are kind of lagging on that. So yeah, we're leaning into it. We're trying to find the best ways to do it, but of course, being in Japan, we're sort of by nature, I guess, risk adverse, and we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, and that we're, you know, making sure that we're not impacting our clients, you know, in any way. So that we're taking additional steps to make sure that you know, risks are being addressed. So yeah, I think it's that sort of balance, right, to make sure you're doing something new, but it also then you're playing by the rules, or just making sure that you've got, you know, guidelines in place to make sure it's a success.
Yeah, no, I think that's similar for a lot of people. Sam, I am conscious of the time, and it's fascinating. I mean, I love Japan, and I could talk to you all day, but I'm also very much aware it's early evening for you now. So I know you are going to be the main point of contact, yes, for any one of our partners
Yeah,
looking to reach
sure.
out into Japan. So we'll put your details up on the end slide there. But thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Welcome to Mission Partners. It's great to have you guys with us, and we're really excited to be doing some work with you very soon. And thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah, really excited to be joining the mission, and yeah, looking forward to working with all the partners and agencies, and yeah, helping the clients expand into Japan.
Great. Well, I was going to say goodbye in Japanese, but I'm not going to embarrass myself. So I'll stick to the English. So Sam, thanks very much, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Paul. All right.
Cheers.
Have a good rest of the day. Cheers.
Cheers.